We think this is just the way it is. No, it's not just the way it is. It's the way we have allowed it to be, right? This is the way we've allowed it to be. So it's not just the way it is. We have to reprogram ourselves, because if we think this is just the way the world is supposed to be, guess what you're saying? That you don't have any power, you're not creating your reality, and that the divine is not in control. And guess where the divine is? The divine lies within you. So we have to really just expand our consciousness, expand our mind, and re-empower ourselves. It's so key. Peace and love, beautiful beings. This is Layla Wind, Chosen Goddess. Welcome to my channel, Let Go My Ego, where we talk about all topics that have to do with letting go of our ego and letting our hearts and our souls lead the way. So today I have a very special topic, and it's perfectly in alignment with all that's going on in the world and what I also know that the world feels that they need in terms of being your most authentic self and how to rebel against this system in a sacred way. So this video is entitled The Sacred Way to Rebel Against a Broken System. Yes, the sacred way to rebel against a broken system. Because let's look at all the ways that we have rebelled and we have protested as a collective in the past, and look at where we are. It hasn't worked. All of the marches, and I'm not saying that it hasn't affected us in some way, because it has brought more awareness. It has empowered a lot of people to take a stand, to speak their truth. But if we're honest, look at the world we're in today. Have we really done a true sacred protest that can actually shift the reality of this world? And one of the main reasons why it hasn't worked is because we're very masculine mind orientated, meaning that we're focused on just action, what we can do in terms of just forcing the system. Yes, speaking our truth. And mind you, all of that is necessary and it's imperative, but we're missing a very, very important ingredient. That is our inner state of being. That is our inner state of consciousness. Let me tell you, this world, meaning the world, the matrix world, that is ruled by very negative entities, very negative beings, very low vibrational people. I mean, again, just look at the state of the world. We have to get out of the cognitive dissonance as a collective, and we have to be honest with ourselves. The people who rule this matrix world, right? Because they don't rule the divine world, right? We rule that. Our hearts rule that, because that is also part of the programming and the confusion and not knowing thyself, is we don't know our own power to create heaven on earth, because consciousness creates reality. So, but what they want to do is they want to siphon us. They want us to forget who we are. They want us to feel helpless. They want us to feel so much in fear and so much anger, as we should be angry, right? But it needs to be channeled in a way that is healthy. It needs to be channeled in a way that actually creates conscious solution. What I love about anger, to me, it's like fuel. It's fuel to the sacred fire. So that way we can truly make change, because anger just means that you are not happy with injustice. You are not happy with how people get treated, how you get treated, how the world is being treated. You're not happy with fear mongering. You're not happy with hate. You're not happy with unkind behavior, right? And energy. So know that they want us to feel helpless, and we are not going to ever subscribe and submit to that. And it's going to take a lot of us to be sane. It's going to take a lot of us to be doing deep and continuous deep inner work, so that way we can truly be in service. So yes, let's get into all the juiciness. So I have, I believe, 7 ways that we can do a sacred rebellion. and this very broken, very evil, just being real, system. It's evil because anytime you have a world that is killing, or I don't even think I can say that word on YouTube, excuse me. I'm gonna use the K word I just said as K, and then M word, you know what I'm saying, the dirter. It rhymes with dirter, the M word, right? So if we live in a world that is K-ing people, M-ing people, then we are in a satanic evil world. Like, let's just be real. And the so-called rulers, the false rulers, the false light, they're not even false light. I mean, it's very obvious. The false, what is the word? Elite, right? Because they're not elite over anything. The false elite, they are obviously causing all of these problems. And I'm not going to put it all on them because we have chosen, whether consciously and unconsciously, that's why we have to have compassion for ourselves, to agree. We have agreed. It's been like a covenant because we participate in it. We think this is just the way it is. No, it's not just the way it is. It's the way we have allowed it to be, right? This is the way we've allowed it to be. So it's not just the way it is. We have to reprogram ourselves, because if we think this is just the way the world is supposed to be, guess what you're saying? That you don't have any power, you're not creating your reality, and that the divine is not in control. And guess where the divine is? The divine lies within you. So we have to really just expand our consciousness, expand our mind, and re-empower ourselves. It's so key. So I have a few notes as usual. I got my book, so if you see me looking down, it's all good. That's just part of the process, so I can make sure I cover everything that I want to cover. So, but again, we have to call it what it is. So I just did that. It's an evil, broken, unfair, imbalanced, toxic, and sadistic society that we live in. Under no circumstances is it ever okay to hurt children, to hurt innocent people for whatever reason. No, there has to be a better way. If you're not seeking harmony, if you're not seeking peace, there has to be a better way. So there's never under any circumstances that it's okay to hurt innocent people, especially children. Come on. How can we as a society allow that? It's unacceptable. And so I want you to know that the ugly truth is way better than a beautiful lie. And a lot of us have been living a beautiful lie, right? And I would say, especially just being honest Americans, because we feel like we're untouchable. And I'm telling you, and I'm not saying this to be negative, and we've seen it with 9/11, we see it with other things that happen, but be careful, because again, what happens to one happens to all. None of us, especially those who are not living a spiritual life, meaning they're not having that divine protection over them. And it's not a hierarchy thing. It's you have to put that protection over yourself through your purity, through having a purpose on this world to really be in service. So we're going to have to, a lot of us are going to have to get a tough wake-up call, right? So America needs to wake up. The world needs to wake up, all parts. I'm not just saying America's the only one that's corrupt. I mean, really, it's the whole entire world. But Americans tend to have this arrogance about themselves, where we think, again, we're better and we're untouchable, because we see the bullies, right, getting away with so much, but they're not going to get away with it, because it's going to get so ugly to the point where people are going to say no more. And I'm excited for that. And we're already in that energy. A lot of us have already broken away from the nonsense. We can't participate, we can't be a part of it, because we know our soul is meant to be free. We're here to be free. We're here to be happy. We're here to be in love with life. And so just call it what it is. This is a very negative system that you have to take your power back in that way. And just, again, like I said, know that there has to be another way. This is not how it's supposed to be. And you also have to know, what are your values as a person? You have to know yourself. And for me, my values for not only myself, but the world, I know is peace, it's love, it's happiness, it's holistic health, meaning not just your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health. That is big, very much lacking in so many people. And yeah, an abundance for all. Abundance, meaning like, I know lack, poverty, that's unnatural. The world is so abundant. We're supposed to be abundant. The earth provides for everyone. Everything comes from the earth. When they say money doesn't grow on trees, yeah, it does. It's paper. Everything comes from the earth. So we have an overflow. So again, this is all done by design to keep us in hierarchies, to keep us in separation, to keep us in division. Everyone should have a surplus of everything that they need. So those are my values, meaning no one should be homeless or poor. No one should be dying from poor health. Like, come on. Like, do you think that human beings or any living entity, any sentient being is meant to be in this existence to die from sickness? No, that's because we're living in an imbalance and we're living in a distortion. No one should hurt themselves or another person in any capacity. No one should be alone and no one should feel alone. Let's get that very clear. And no one should be forced to do anything that they do not want to do. Okay? And I'm talking about, and I know some people will take that as like, well, what if somebody's trying to hurt somebody? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just as us being autonomous, flesh, bone, blood human beings. We should all be able to do whatever it is that we want to do, right? As long as we're not hurting people. Again, it goes back to all of those principles and those values that I just mentioned. Those values are really important to me. So, and also again, just recognize that consciousness creates reality. And consciousness is nothing more than your state of being. It's not your thinking, it's not your doing, it's your beingness. It's the energy, the radiance that you're emitting. It's your ability to be still, like meaning like not that you're not moving your body. I'm talking about this inner peace, this inner stillness, this inner equilibrium that's within you that allows us to expand. And trust me, I know all of us can be very scatterbrained, especially me. I'm willing to admit that, but I'm aware of it. I'm aware of self. And that's also part of consciousness too. You have to be aware of yourself. And so let's get into these 7 ways that we can be a sacred rebel in a very demented and psychotic society, a broken system, right? Everything's broken. I mean, every part of it, government, education, medical, banking, you name it, every part, Hollywood, every part is broken. It's obvious, right? It's so superficial, it's so fake. And you know why it's broken? Because it's not equality for all. People are not happy. I mean, again, look at the state of the world. Let's move on. So the first one is focus on you. That is how you take your power back. It's important to be aware of what's going on in the world, but don't be consumed by it. Don't be inundated by it. Don't be persuaded by it. Anything that is causing you to be divisive and live in fear, that's a program. It's unnatural. We're not supposed to live in fear as our state of being. Our state of being is supposed to be love. Fear is supposed to serve a purpose in terms of like danger coming, and it's not even like you're supposed to be in fear. Like, I feel like as we evolve consciously, I feel like even if we see danger coming, because we will have the faculties and the ability to protect ourselves, there won't be any fear anyway. But as we're shifting, fear serves the purpose as to, realize where something is like, you need to protect yourself, so to speak, right? But we're not supposed to be living in fear. And know that they profit off of your low self-esteem. They profit off of your self-sabotage. They profit off of you abandoning yourself, right? So take your power back and work on yourself. So focusing on yourself also is recognizing that attention is currency. So energy goes where your attention flows. So we're feeding that system. That's something that came to me very, very clear when I was breaking out of a lot of distractions in my life throughout my life, right? Like, meaning like celebrity stuff or news or just even everyday gossip. I realize the more that we look at it, the more that we talk about it, we're feeding that timeline. Like, if you don't like it, it's just like when people don't like something that like a celebrity is doing, right? But they're on their page, they're looking at every picture, there may be some jealousy or some hate or whatever it is, right? And they constantly take their time out to leave negative comments. You're feeding that energy. So it's like whether you're giving them loving comments or negative comments, they're still going to be popular off of that. They're still like the talk. You're still giving your attention to what you say you don't like. And I'm not saying that if there's something that we don't like, we're not supposed to speak on it. But I'm talking about that like obsessive, compulsive behavior where you keep tuning in and you keep giving your senses to things that you know are not in alignment with your truth and your values and who you are. So really, again, self-awareness is key. So attention is currency. And recognize that fear debilitates you. So comparison debilitates you, and trauma dumping debilitates you. So when we're in fear and we're comparing ourselves to whatever it is out there in the world, and we're constantly being exposed to trauma, not only do you numb yourself, but it's traumatizing yourself. Even if it's not your own trauma and you've become so-called numb to it, that is a form of like living in trauma, because you're losing your humanity. You're losing your ability to sense. You're not able to really regulate your nervous system. And then you'll start living in fear, right? You'll start, and I know all of us have been subjected to this, and where our mind, like for example, like getting into a car, and then out of nowhere, your mind is like, what if a big semi truck hits me? Just out of nowhere, right? It's because you probably seen that somewhere else, right? Why else would you be thinking about a big semi truck hitting you? Let me tell you this: if something's meant to happen to you that's unfavorable or bad, there's nothing you can do about it, right? There's nothing you can do about it. So why not shift our focus into what we want to focus on? Why not be present, right? And you have to know your values, like I said earlier. You have to know who you are and what you stand for. You have to focus on your holistic health, not just your body, not just your mind, all of it. Mind, body, spirit, emotional health. Like that is the number one focus. Because again, if you are not doing those things for yourself, then guess what? You are no good to anybody. You are no good to this world. I'm not saying you have to be perfect, but you will not be your optimal, your best self if you're not constantly making that your focus. And not only that, you feel good. It's not even about obsessing over improving yourself. It's about loving yourself. That's it. It's just about loving yourself. Loving yourself is a daily embodiment. It's a daily practice. It's a daily ritual. And I would say list your priorities. Make it your lifestyle. This should be your lifestyle, right? Knowing, again, in your priorities are, again, what's going to help you mind, body, spirit, emotionally, and of course, financially, until we shift out of this reality where money is not even a thing, but we're not there yet. So just if you're not resonating with like working on yourself financially, just think of your abundance, like your overflow, and the many ways that shows up, right? Do the shadow work, heal yourself. There's many videos, there's many books, there's many courses, etc. And just even tuning into yourself to see the shadow work that you need to do, and having pleasure and like not feeling guilty about it. That has been one of my greatest focuses this year in my guidance from my oversoul and as an intuitive, is to have a pleasure principle. Like Janet Jackson says, right? Your pleasure principle, but the pleasure principle for your soul. I'm not talking about egoic pleasure. Egoic pleasures are things that can cause harm, right? They're not really soul fulfilling, meaning like excessive sex, excessive partying, drinking, drugs, etc. Some people say, oh, well, that gives me pleasure, but it's causing harm. So again, not egoic fulfilling pleasures, soul fulfilling pleasures. And this is the interesting thing. If it fulfills the soul, it also actually will fulfill your ego, because the ego, even though this channel is called Let Go My Ego, I want to be clear, the ego is necessary in this human experience. But again, most people are operating from a wounded ego. And I know I say "and again" like I said that before. It's just, forgive me. That's just something I say. I'm so crazy. But yes, know that your ego is supposed to work in harmony with your heart and your soul. And that is a healthy ego. So if you're so fulfilled, truly your ego is going to be fulfilled as well. So we don't want the wounded ego fulfillment, because that leads to self-destruction. All right, I know that was very long-winded for number 1, but let's keep it moving and go on to number 2. So number 2 is to speak your truth and be willing to be misunderstood, rejected, and even gaslit or projected onto. So this is the thing. Stand in your truth from love. So if you're really standing in your truth and you're speaking in your truth, you're operating from a win-win perspective, not a versus. You're not coming into any situation trying to speak your truth. It's like, oh, I'm over you, or I want to be the dominant one. No, when we're actually conscious and we actually are truly empowered, we're looking for win-win solutions, not a versus. And it has to be that way from both parties. And if it's not, you have absolutely every single right to step away and to move on with your life. Also, be willing to see and hear all sides. So that's kind of unfolding on what I just said, and then decide what is best for you. So a part of speaking your truth is also part of listening to other people's truths. And then from there, having the discernment and the wherewithal to be able to, and this takes a lot of practice. I know this is for a lot of people. Sometimes you may not really know if their truth or your truth is actually in congruency. So it's really important to practice your discernment, tune in to how it feels. And a great litmus test for this is just ask, is this love? Does this feel like a win-win for everybody? Like, you can think about that cognitively, and you can also tune in with your feminine side, your right brain side. Does this feel good? Like, not from a program, but from, like, again, that win-win, heart-centered. Is this really the best for all, right? While still honoring everybody's truth and where they're at. And again, seek harmony, agree to disagree, but have discernment. Oh, I can't tell you that discernment is key. And again, I'm very, I say that again, excuse me, y'all. But I'm very keen on being able to sense the subtle energies and the energy behind words and the energy behind people's intentions. I can see that very, very clearly. I don't just listen to what people are saying. I don't just watch what they're doing. I feel the energy that's coming behind that. And that's a special gift I have, but we all have that ability. You just have to refine it. And it starts with you, right? It starts with you noticing yourself, and then you'll be able to notice it within others. So that's really important. And then when you speak your truth, and you do that from love, and you're willing to be misunderstood, and you're willing to be rejected, and you're even willing to be gaslit or projected onto. When I say willing, you're not accepting that, but it's like, again, it is what it is. But because you know who you are and you're standing in your truth, you can release that wherever necessary with love, and you won't feel any type of way about it, besides maybe like, oh, compassion for them, or even if a brief moment of sadness. Oh, it's so sad they weren't able to see my heart. It's so sad they weren't able to see that I just wanted harmony. It's okay, release it, because one thing's for sure, life, the universe has a way of teaching us all, and that's the mystery of life. And again, give grace to others through removing yourself, because in some instances we may also need grace because we're not understanding something, or we're not showing up as our purest, most loving self, right? It can happen. We're human. But yeah, speak your truth unapologetically, and that is number 2. So number 3 is remove distractions through replacement. I've talked about this before. If you haven't watched my video on how to remove distractions, and it has to do with like learning to regulate your nervous system, I definitely recommend that you tune into that video. It has a lot of beautiful gems. And again, I will be doing a video soon about, and when I'm so sorry I keep saying again, but I guess I'm unfolding off of previous conversations I've had. That's not necessarily in this video, so please forgive me. But I am called to do a video on exactly how to remove distractions. So we'll talk about that later, and also how to regulate your nervous system, because that is a game changer in itself, and it's going to help so many other areas and aspects of your life. So recognize that distractions is anything that, again, keeps you from your mind, your body, your spirit, your emotional health, and your abundant health, right? So anything that is taking away from that is a distraction. And it's a practice. It's a continuous practice, right? Every day, just practice and be self-aware. And then again, another good litmus test is to say, is this feeding my soul, or is this feeding my ego? Is this helping me in any type of way? Just those very simple, basic questions will help you to determine if you're distracted. And you know what also helps me a lot? Again, maybe because I'm just sensitive. I don't know if this is for everybody. It's probably not for everybody, but I'm very sensitive because I can tune into energy so well. I can feel my body, and I can feel my auric field becoming dense. Whenever I'm doing something that's not in my highest alignment, I start to get a headache, and I start to feel my vibration lowering, and I start to feel my frequency becoming slower, and I'll become drained. And so those are also good ways to be able to determine if you're being distracted. So tune into how you feel with something as well. And part of also removing distractions is just being radically honest. A lot of us do not have the ability. I'm not gonna say we don't have the ability. We do have the ability, but we're just not being real with ourselves. There's so much cognitive dissonance, and what's coming to me is some of it's not people's fault. It's very psychological, and I feel like it has a lot to do with trauma and your resonance to certain things. Meaning you may not be able to determine if something's a distraction if you are used to drama, if you are used to negative vibrational experiences in your life, because again, that psychosis and that neurological wiring that's within yourself, that is where you're resonating, that is where you're vibrating. So you may not think it's a distraction because you just think it's the norm, if that makes any sense. So, but again, self-awareness is key. And also know that distractions are overthinking and overanalyzing. Oh my goodness, that's something I have to work on every single day. Every single day is to breathe and come back to the moment. And I also want to always reference that a lot of times our minds can run amok is because we're physically carrying trauma in the body. And what I've learned through just my years of research, my years of working on myself, is that truly the mind follows the body. So when the body's unhealthy, not just in what you eat, not just in exercise, you're supposed to do all of those things, yes, but it's not just in that. It's about actually learning to remove the trauma out of the body. And that's why it's really also important that a lot of us look into other ways of doing somatic work. Not just massage, but like the acupunctures, the craniosacral therapy, which I'm starting to get really interested and intrigued about. There's just a Reiki. There's so many ways to work on the emotional pain body by working with the body that a lot of people are just not aware of. Again, you can work out all the time. You can do yoga. I'm a witness to that. I've been doing yoga for over 10 years, and I teach yoga as well when I do gatherings and when I do retreats. And so from that experience, I know firsthand that the yoga, the weightlifting, the eating healthy is not just enough. We have to incorporate other techniques, other ancient strategies and ancient wisdom in ways of working with the body, even plant medicine, can help a lot of people as well. I mean, there's just so many ways. So I would say tune into where you're called, do your research, and then see what works for you. And that will help you to remove distractions out of the mind, and then we can remove distractions out of our life. So that is number 3. And yeah, shift your focus back to your heart and soul's desires. So that is always the priority. So number 4 is have a devoted spiritual practice, a meditative practice every day. So all that means is just stay present. That means your peace, your awareness, your inner stillness, that is what matters. Be here now and have a balance of solitude, like time to yourself, and also time with community and with your loved ones. I feel like we always, as human beings, it's natural, we have to have both. And I talked about that in a previous episode, where it doesn't matter if you're an introvert or an extrovert, that both are beautiful, both are necessary. You're supposed to express yourself in your most authentic way. However, it doesn't matter if you're an introvert or extrovert, we both need solitude and we both need community, because that's the human way. So that is number 4. So have a daily focus, meditative, spiritual practice. So when I say meditative, all that means is, to me, presence, like absolute surrendered presence, like where you're, again, here now, be here now. So that is number 4. Number 5, one of my favorites, be in service. This is how you become a sacred rebel. So the best way to be in service, the number 1 way we should all be in service, is in who we're being. Again, meaning not who you're pretending to be, not who you're trying to be, not what you're trying to prove. It's in who you're being in terms of like mind, body, heart, emotional, spiritual coherence. That is who we're being. And you know what's interesting? This affects your electromagnetic field that's around us. We all have an invisible aura. You know, we all heard of the aura. We have even a bioelectrical magnetic field around us, and that can shift and change any room that you walk in. Even if you're not walking into a room, the spaces that you're in, it could change the neighborhood you're in. It truly changes the world. It creates a ripple effect. And so that inner coherence is everything. That's been coming up a lot. And working on your nervous system is everything. It's been coming up a lot. And I will tell you this too, one of the best ways to work on your nervous system is to speak your truth. Speaking your truth, going back to number 2, is calling your power back. Every time you do that, you're no longer abandoning yourself. You're remembering yourself. You're no longer dismembered. You've become, because it's like, I realize every time that we don't speak up, and that's the problem with the world. Too many of us are not speaking up. Too many of us are allowing things that are wrong to slide and hiding behind, oh, I'm compassionate, I'm caring. No, if you're really caring, we're going to say no more. If you're really compassionate, no more. I can be compassionate towards you, and I can understand why you're doing the things you're doing, maybe because of self-hatred, maybe because of your own wounding, and no, it will not be allowed over here. Because again, when you don't even allow that within yourself, and you're constantly self-correcting, you're constantly being accountable, you don't have to allow that within other people. When I say not allowing, people are going to do whatever they want to do, meaning that you don't have to allow that in your energy, in your space. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to participate in it, nothing. So be in service mainly through your being. And just know, are you truly helping to make the world a better place? And another thing that came up when I was talking about our brainstorming, soul storming on this topic, is that it's really important that we are moving and we're going into a place of service from the soul. Like soul service is what my intuition and what my oversoul calls it. So we're moving into soul service as a collective, and know that true service causes harm to none. So as we're moving into higher states of consciousness, as we're moving into heaven on earth, meaning that yes, right now it's a lot of hell on earth, but all of that's happening so that way we can wake up and we can learn to live in harmony, starting within ourselves and then live in harmony with each other, right? So as we're doing that, we're going to recognize that a lot of these institutions are service to self, so they're not really in true service, and they're also not fulfilling the soul. They're causing harm. And so we can look at, like I said, any aspect of society, from the hospitals, from the medical system, which is the hospitals, from the education system, et cetera, every aspect of society, definitely government. And we can recognize that this is not true service because it's causing harm within the system and outside of it. So meaning like the people that are actually working within the system, it causes harm to them as well, because they are working for a system, again, that is not win-win. It's service to self, and it's very obvious. And it's been obvious to a lot of us because there's so many injustices and there's just a big distortion. And we just have to be real again with ourselves and recognize, like, anything that you're doing, again, is this helping not only myself, but others, mind, body, spirit, emotional, physical health, right? In abundance on all levels. And if it's not, maybe we need to pivot, and maybe we need to be really, really radically honest with ourselves. So that's what we're moving into. So just tune into how you can be in service from a place of your soul truth, integrity to your soul. There's going to be a lot more soul service workers as we're awakening in consciousness. The energy healers, we're going to have a lot more energy healers, shamans, somatic body workers, somatic body work practitioners of all kinds, herbalists, naturopaths, psychics, people who have their clairs online, meaning your clairvoyance, your clairaudience, your clairsentience. All of those people, all of these people are going to be at the forefront for those who are moving into, again, a service to soul and a service to others paradigm. And it won't be a paradigm. That's actually more of a true state rather than the paradigm of service to self. So really, really important. And then again, when you're in service to others, you're thinking of holistic living in an eco-friendly way of life, meaning that it not only helps us as human beings, it's helping the animals, it's helping the earth, it's causing harm to none, not just human beings, it's all of what's in existence, all beings, all sentient beings, all of life, right? And that goes down to your food, your hair products, all of that. And I want to be very crystal clear. It's not going to happen overnight. Let go your ego. I'm not talking about being perfect. I'm not saying you have to throw out all your hair products. I haven't yet. I still use a few hair products that I know got some stuff in it that I shouldn't be using, but I'm giving myself grace. I'm transitioning. The clothes, right? A lot of these clothes, the polyesters, all of the toxic chemicals, it's plastics that's actually seeping into your skin. If you're not aware of that, please go do some research on how a lot of clothes are just not high vibrational, and they're actually harmful to your endocrine system, your hormones, and just overall health. And so again, that's causing harm. So if we're really in a conscious world, we're not going to be wearing clothes, or even companies will not be distributing clothes or selling clothes or anything. Again, I'm just using clothes as an example. It goes with every part of life. The cars, the gas, the clothes. We've been affected in every facet of society. If I wasn't spiritual, my head would spin because it's insane. Once you know better, you do better. So I say all that to say, please do not be hard on yourself. This is not about perfection. It's about progression. And I will always say this, one step at a time. So do your research and just know that service, as we're moving into more of a service to soul, again, when we're talking about the win-win, when we're talking about money exchanges or selling our services, selling products, any parts of business, it's not just to make money. Yes, we want to make money until that's eliminated, right? Because we have bills to pay, we have to take care of ourselves. We're trying to live an abundant, overflowing life. We all deserve that. And just know it will be a surplus for everybody, but the intention won't just be to just make money. The intention is, I want to help people. That's it. I want to help people, and I want to help people be their best selves in whatever way that is. Every aspect of society needs a major transformation, a major makeover, and we can all thrive. And also, being in service means everybody is doing what they love, truly, what they are called and what they're here to do. We are all meant to do different things depending on our soul's service. Some people are meant to be the babysitter. Some people are meant to be in the healthcare system. Again, not this toxic healthcare system. And maybe we're meant to be there now, but what I'm saying is eventually it's going to be a service to soul. Service meaning mind, body, spirit, emotional health, right? And so everybody's going to be doing what they love. So tune into what you love, tune into what you're called. This is why it's so important to work on yourself so you can get to know yourself, okay? And let's moving on. We only got 2 more to go. So the next one is, it's interesting because this one isn't more of what you're doing. It's just more of like a shift in consciousness, a shift in perspective. Is knowing that the new stars, the new celebrities, so to speak, the people that we deem as important in society, they're going to be heart-centered, period. So we're no longer going to be looking at status in society, money, even talent. All of that's great, right? All of that's great, especially talent. That's wonderful. I think people should absolutely be praised for their talent, but it's going to be character over talent. We're going to realize that, and this is something that came to me, because when you look at people who are just so talented, right? And they're so remarkable with their talented gifts, but then you find out all this negative stuff about them, or that they were hooked on drugs, or, engaging in something that hurts children or whatever. And we see that time and time again. It's just so sickening. And you just wonder, like, wow, such a waste, right? Like, oh, it's just so disheartening. But one thing I realize is that our talents, our gifts, especially when it comes to like entertainment, it's supposed to help people awaken spiritually. That came to me very, very clear. And you may not always notice it at first. It can be through dancing, it could be through singing, it can be through artwork, whatever it is, right? Whatever our talents are. It could be through playing instruments, etc. I mean, there's just so many ways to express our talents, especially in the entertainment world, in the artistry world, right? Even pole dancing, that came to me too. Like, it's really such a sacred art, but it's, again, in this world, it's became perverted, it became inverted, and it's a distortion. But pole dancing in itself, I've realized, is so sacred and so beautiful and so freeing and liberating for those who are interested in it. There's no right or wrong. It's just all about the intention, right? But it's all supposed to awaken us spiritually. That came through very, very clear. So that's what we're moving into. And not just to entertain, or not just to entrain the mind, meaning that mind programming, right? We've all been so programmed, especially since a young children, to worship celebrities. And that's going to be no more. We're going to be worshiping those people, meaning like not worshiping them like they're better than us. We're going to be honoring people and having reverence for those who are really doing this heart-centered soul work in this world. So that's really, really important. That's something to consider and pay attention to. So that's really exciting. And Hollywood is going to be destroyed. I'm letting y'all know that right now. Y'all heard it here first. It's going to be destroyed. I'm not saying in a sense of like people are going to be hurt. They're going to hurt themselves. They're going to take themselves down because of their own evil doings, own evil ways. And I'm going to say this too, a side note, I didn't need the Epstein files to tell me anything. I was never interested in it because I already knew all of this crap, and a lot more nonsense and a lot more uncovering is going to be exposed. It's been going on for a while. All of the evils, especially the harm to children, is going to be exposed. I've been knowing about this stuff for a long time, and that's why I've really just removed all of my consent and all of my attention for the most part. It doesn't mean I may not watch a dance show here and there, whatever, but for the most part, I can't support any of it because I know what they're doing, and it's disgusting. So the Epstein files didn't do anything for me because I already knew. But I think it's good that a lot of people are starting to like wake up and say, okay, these people that we've been worshiping or putting on a pedestal or looking up to, what are they really doing? And all the Illuminati rumors, et cetera, et cetera. You know, people are just starting to question, and that's really good. And starting to, again, look past just the talent or the glamour or the beauty, right? All of that is great. The glamour, the beauty, I think it's wonderful. I love to see it too. But again, I recognize I can see deeper through all of that. So I can say, oh, that's a beautiful dress. That's a beautiful woman. But how is your soul? How is your soul? How is your spirit? That's really what makes you beautiful. When I tune into that, I see monsters. It's like, no, thank you. So anyways, just had to say that little spiel. And also emotional intelligence is going to be more important rather than mental acuity or your mental cognition alone, right? The mental does play a beautiful part in us being able to process and assess reality, right? And to have discernment and to educate ourselves and to improve ourselves. But again, we forgot about emotional intelligence. That's something I have been keenly working on. And just to be transparent and vulnerable, I used to have a horrible temper, horrible anger. I used to react on a dime because I had something to prove. I was very much in my wounded ego, not because I was an egoic person or so-called bad person or any of that. It's because I was deeply hurt. I was deeply wounded and I was tired. So I had to realize that I was going to self-destruct. I was letting my anger become the wounded anger, right? Not the sacred anger. I wasn't using it healthily. I mean, it served its purpose. I had to go through hell and had to deal with a whole bunch of nonsense and drama back in the day because of my crazy anger. But I've learned that, you know, I have the right to feel angry, but how can I transmute this anger and use this anger in a way that is healthy and actually causes healthy change, a change that is going to benefit not only myself, but everyone. So that's really important. So yeah, we're gonna have that perspective shift. And this is a way to be a sacred rebel in how we perceive important people, right? You're important. And there's no celebrity or no politician or no important person on this planet that's better than you. Like, they're not better than you. I don't care how many people look up to them. It's never about the followers. It's never about any of that. I know we hear that, but it's time we really know that. You have to know it in your being. So that's going to help liberate you too. And let's move on to the last one, which is really, really powerful. Number 7 is to remove your support, remove your participation in obedience from these corrupt systems. This is why it's so important to know your values and to increase your state of consciousness or elevate it, however you want to call it. I mean, increase may not be the right word, but to expand your state of consciousness, because you will again start to realize the very sinister, very negative agendas of, like I said, any institution in this society. And so you want to remove your support, you want to remove your participation, and you want to remove your consent, your obedience to these corrupt systems, because they are corrupt. They are not service to others. They are not service to soul. They are service to self, and they only want to siphon your energy and to use you and to abuse you. I mean, again, look at the state of the world. Wake up, people, please. So whenever and wherever you can and you choose to. So let me give you an example on a couple ways that I have removed my obedience and consent from the system. For example, I don't watch shows anymore, like celebrity shows or video shows, because I know they're rituals. When I say video shows, I don't even know what they're called. What are they called? Award shows. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Grammys, BET Awards, none of that, because it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all an illusion. It's not really helping anybody. It's just very surface level. And I also know the nonsense that they're into. I do know that. And I'm not saying everybody in Hollywood is a bad person or evil, but the system itself is built on a lot of satanic, negative, low vibrational agendas, rituals. I mean, it will blow your mind once you go down that rabbit hole and once all the truth starts coming out in these next decades. So just pay attention to that. So that's one way that I remove my obedience. Not that I was ever obedient, but I remove my consent, remove my energy from supporting any of those systems. I just don't even watch it. Another way, I don't vote. I know that's controversial for a lot of people, but that's my truth. I don't vote because, again, we're in a corrupt system. What are we voting for? How many times are we going to keep voting? And then also see the division it causes, Republican versus Democrat. It's so much division. And I recognize that it's two sides of the same coin. And there's a narrative. It's all a stage. You know, there's a saying that they say the world is a stage. And if you tune in, it really feels theatrical. It doesn't even feel real. And again, look at the state of the world. No matter who you vote for, there's still mental health crisis. There's still poverty. There's still hate. There's still all of the isms, racism, sexism, classism, ageism, right? On your age. Ableism, meaning like discrimination against disabled people, right? There's still abuse. There's still domestic violence. There's still child abuse. There's a physical health crisis, right? Not only a mental health, people are dying so young. People have all these problems in the world. There's a food crisis, not meaning that I know for a fact that it doesn't mean that there's not enough food, but the quality of food, right? And the way they distribute the food is like a problem. Sorry, I had some music playing in the background, so I had to turn the TV off because a commercial came on and ruined my moment. But it didn't ruin anything, okay? We're letting that go. But yeah, again, look at the state of the world. So no matter who we vote for, I mean, look, they're right now, as I'm doing this video, they're dropping bombs on innocent people. And again, this has been televised on the news, but let me let y'all know something real. This has been happening, not just when they want to televise it. There's been bombs being dropped on multiple countries. There's been a war in Sudan and other parts of Africa for decades where hundreds of thousands, if not millions, even in the 2020s, meaning 2020s and beyond, where children, innocent people are dying and nobody talks about it. There are no words. It's so sad. And so because of that, what am I voting for? No, I'm not going to vote. I vote for love. And also think about this. You don't even know who these people are. They're putting on a show. I mean, for those who can see, the intuitives of us, we know who they are because we can see past the illusions, right? But most people, you don't know who these people are. You're only going off of, again, how they're presenting themselves, their act, their narrative, their conjecture, their promises, right? But again, if you look at the state of the world, that will tell you all that you need to know. If you look at the state of the people, you will know everything. There's a saying that you know a lot about a father, right, or a mother by the state of their children, right? It tells you everything. The children, it doesn't matter about what the parents, the way they put on a show or how they pretend like they're such a happy couple or such a great family. Look at the state of the children and you will know everything. It's the same thing in the world. Look at the state of the people. Are they unhappy? Are there a lot of complaints? Are they sick? etc. And all of that's true, right? So that's a way that I remove my support and participation from this false matrix. Another way is, and this is a simple way. I mean, there's so many ways to remove your support, but as you tune in, and again, you become very aware and conscious and of self and conscious of the world that we live in, you'll be able to see, this is not aligning with me. Another way I remove my support is I don't eat at restaurants a lot anymore. Mainly because, not that I don't like going out to eat. For one, the food quality sucks. I'm just being honest. For most places, I don't trust the food. I don't trust the hygiene of people and the reason why I don't trust the hygiene is because, or their cleanliness habits, is because these people are underpaid, they're overworked. And so I can't expect some people are not mentally sane, to give me 5-star service wherever I go, even if it's a classy restaurant. If you look at the people, I'm telling you, just take a moment. If you're ever in these environments, or even if you go to a nice restaurant, because I don't eat fast food and stuff, I haven't done that in years. But if you go to nicer restaurants, even just look at the people, tune in. And I'm not saying all restaurants, but it is most. But tune into the people that are working there. They don't look happy. They're like slaves, right? And they're underpaid. And so because of that, I know that energy is going into my food and that energy is going into my body, and I can't do it, right? So I avoid restaurants nowadays like the plague, unless I'm super hungry or I really, really want something to eat and I just don't have time to make food on my own. And in that case, I just pray over my food. I bless it to the best of my ability to try to neutralize some of those lower frequencies that may be in the food. You may think I'm crazy, but I'm telling you, the people that understand energy and how energy works, and the people who are in tune, they know energy transfers is a real thing, and everything is energy. And so if you're making food and the food is not made from love, and the food, even from the ground, is not made from love, I mean, come on, they're putting so many chemicals in the soil. It's corrupted down to the food, right? Every aspect of society. And this is not to be negative. This is not doom and gloom. This is about what's real and what's factual, so we can truly make a difference in the society, and we can take our power back and do what we need to do, right? So we can have harmony and love and coherence on this planet. So those are just two examples. Voting and eating at a restaurant is ways that I actually remove my consent and remove my participation and remove it's because like you're plugging into that energy. It's like what I said earlier in the beginning, like if you're watching certain celebrities or watching certain things that you don't like, or you know it's not in alignment with your truth, but you're watching it to even berate it, or whether you're watching it to be entertained, you're still feeding that timeline. You're still feeding that frequency, right? So just remove it. And it takes a lot of self-worth. Worth and work. It takes a lot of self-worth and work to get to that level where you say no more. So it's like my self-worth lets me know like I deserve healthy, nourishing foods as much as possible. So I buy only organic as much as possible, and I make my food as much as possible, because I want to feel good within myself, and I want to have dominion over my body, my experience in life. And I'm also a realist. Looking at the state of the world, I have to do what's best for me. So those are ways. And another way, just quickly to share, is like, I don't go to hospitals. I don't go to doctors, none of that, as much as possible, mainly because I know, just being honest, I know the racism that exists in these places. And I also know beyond racism, everybody's affected. I also know that they are putting so many chemicals into people's bodies. Nothing is holistic. You look around, they're giving people soda pop, chips, cookies, candies. All of that is poison, right? I know for a fact in my heart and soul that a true healing center is going to have holistic, natural, organic, nourishing, vitamin, mineral rich foods, and also medicine that comes from the earth. It's not real medicine. Anything, again, that causes harm, side effects, is not medicine, no. And I'm talking about side effects that can, like, you take, for example, a medication for, the S word. It rhymes with ooicide, right? Add the S into it. And I can't say that because of YouTube from my experience. But if you take a medication for that, or depression, I should say, you take a medication for depression and then the side effect is you're ooicidal, right? That is insane. I'd rather just be depressed. No, thank you. And so with all of these tips, just know that this won't happen overnight. In terms of like shifting this system, we have to trust the flow. We have to trust the process. I know easier said than done, but if you focus on yourself and you're doing what's right, I promise you will have a protection over you. I promise you will be provided for, because I'm experiencing that, like, big time. Like, I don't have to work for myself, and I'm so provided. I mean, I don't have to work. Excuse me. I do work for myself. I don't have to work for anybody else, and I'm so provided for. I work for myself. I'm in service. Y'all, there's a moth in here, and maybe that is actually a spirit animal. That means surrender. Whew. Thank you, spirit. Thank you, moth spirit. It's coming through to say surrender, surrender, surrender. Surrender does not mean give up. Surrender means, like, it is what it is. Come back to center, come back to focus. And it goes back to the serenity prayer. I don't know exactly how it goes, but it goes something like, I accept the things that I can't change, or, I have the wisdom to know the difference, something like that. Some of you know that prayer, but it's pretty much saying that, the things that you can't change, there's nothing you can do about it, but know what you can change. And there are things that you can change, and you have to know have the wisdom to know the difference. That's pretty much what the serenity prayer is. I know I butchered it. I didn't say it right, but look it up. I completely agree with that prayer. And to me, that prayer is like the definition of surrender. And that surrender is also trusting and knowing and allowing the process to unfold. And just, again, remove your consent from this system. And also, again, know it's going to get worse before it gets better. And it's not cruelty. It's not that God is allowing negative things to happen. We've allowed it. Know that the God is within us. We've allowed it as a collective. And so it has to happen until people say no more and we take our power back. I mean, human beings are so hard-headed. It's just crazy. We are so hard-headed. And we have so much cognitive dissonance. And a lot of us, we have to learn the hard way. Like, I don't know why human beings got to learn the hard way, but hey, that's what we chose. We chose suffering, but we are now waking up and we're choosing love over fear. We're choosing peace. We're choosing harmony. We're choosing to say no more as a yes to love, as a yes to unity, right? That's the Christ consciousness. And be a stoic, don't be so prideful, right? And that's pretty much what I was talking about. That surrender energy is how you become a stoic, and you're not so full of a false pride, and you're not being it's not about being a prude in life either. It's not prude meaning like you're so strict and you're so rigid. I'm not saying you can't dance. I'm not saying you can't watch a football game if you want to. I'm not saying that you can't even watch whatever it is that you want to watch, a movie, etc. That's not even what I'm saying. But what I am saying is just to be aware and to remove your consent one by one, and you will notice what you're attracted to and what you're aligned to shifts drastically. And again, just a reminder, it's not about perfection, it's about progression. It's about protection. It's about purity. That's what we're moving into. No exceptions, okay? No exceptions. It's about purity. It's about, that is the perfection. Is it pure? Is it love? Is it heart-centered? Is it, again, unity, wisdom, wealth for all? Is it all of those things? For all. So I hope this video, I'm gonna hope, I know this video definitely gave you so many ways, such a perspective shift as it has done for me, in how to be a sacred rebel in a broken system, right? No longer just protesting, no longer just fighting, putting yourself in danger to get killed by, trigger happy people who have no humanity, people who have no compassion, no empathy, no self-awareness themselves, people who have deep psychosis, deep hatred. Why put yourself in harm's way amongst those type of people? It doesn't make sense. We've tried that already. It doesn't work. And maybe some people do need to be on the front lines, but let's try to be in service. Let's try to remove our consent, remove our, even the more people that become entrepreneurs, the more that we create centers, more holistic schools, the more that we create more, naturopathic doctors, naturopathic institutions, the more that we have banking systems that aren't just riddled with interest and taking advantage of people, and etc. I mean, like I said, every aspect of society. If we have more people, conscious farmers, I'm telling you, it goes in every aspect of society. There's a better way to do everything. The more that we have more of all of that, the better the world is going to become, and that's how we shift. And we're going to see a lot of people just saying, like I said, enough is enough. And they're not going to be in alignment with the false matrix. They're going to be now in alignment with the divine matrix. And those who are not choosing love over fear, it's going to be to their own detriment. But that's their choice. And that's for them to work out with the divine and with their soul. And thank goodness the divine is so merciful and so graceful. And we all get a chance to come back to source, whether that's in this lifetime or another. So it is what it is. I'm sending you all so much love. I'm going to wrap this video up finally. I thought it was going to be 30 minutes, but I must have been delusional to even think Layla Wind was going to finish a topic like this in 30 minutes. Not happening. But it is what it is. And those who are meant to hear this message and stay with this message, thank you so much for listening. If you like this message, please like, share, subscribe, comment. I would love to hear your thoughts. I really want to hear what ways are you called to be now a sacred rebel in this world? Have any of these really aligned with you? Have any of these really resonated with you, I should say, or shifted your perspective? And yeah, just where you're called to move forward so we can truly make this world a better place together. We're in this together. And yeah, thank you for watching. All right. I am sending you all so much peace, so much love, so much happiness. Give yourself lots of grace. We don't have to be perfect. We just have to be self-aware, and we just have to keep going, right? We have to keep going because all of this is an illusion, right? I know it's very real in the human experience, but it's also an illusion because we can shift this. It doesn't have to be this way. And it's not going to be this way for much longer because a lot of us are taking our power back. All right. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you next time. Peace and love. Thank you.